What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to Talkin Sport for Jake. Hope we're all doing well. Let's jump into some MLB news. Not a ton. Only thing I really have is Sandy Alderson's been the Mets president the last couple of years. He is no longer the president anymore. He's moved into an advisory role. Of course, he was the general manager for a while, for like 8 or 9 years, and then he had some health problems, so they stepped down, and then they parted ways, and then he had the Brody Van Wagner there, which didn't go so well. And then Cohen bought the team. And then Cohen brought in Sandy to be the team president, but not to handle the baseball operation. They were going to hire a GM president, president of baseball ops, to sort of understand who would just be like the team president, on the business side. But then they were having trouble finding team presidents, and they decided, all right, let's just hire a GM, and I'll be the president of baseball operations. And then they had trouble finding out. They hired Joe Reporter who had all the field issues. So they had to fire him before his job even got started. And then they brought in Zach Scott, which obviously he was the acting GM, which obviously backfired. And then they ended up finding Billy Upper last year, which has worked out so far. Haven't brought in president of baseball operations. Yeah, of course, last year he had that complete failed search, which is why I ended up selling for Billy Epler, who's actually has done a good job. Didn't do a good job at the trade deadline last year, but his off seasons have been great. So let's say he's no longer involved in the baseball operations. Probably about the best. He's ancient. That dude. That's that. And the Milwaukee Brewers have a couple of minor signings. They pick up Luke Voit and Tyron Naquin on minor league deals. You got Voit is a first baseman who didn't have a great year last year. Was started in San Diego, then was traded to Washington in the Juan Soto deal. By the way, I just want to welcome in Liam. He's helping me in the back today. He actually just walked in. He came from class, so he's helping me out today. Thanks again, Liam. He just said you're welcome in my ear. So yeah, Bruce and Voigt did have a great year. Only had 226 last year. Had a very bad slash line between San Diego and Washington. But he did 22 home runs, has 68 ribbies. In the pandemic year in 2020, led the league in home runs. It's over 60 games. Still had a very good year. He's always been a guy who's like a 25 homer threat. Milwaukee picks him up. I mean, at first, they got Robbie Tellez, who had a nice year last year. He had 30 plus home runs. Let's see if they DH Voigt. Voigt will definitely get a good amount of at-bats. He'll probably get a lot of work at designated hitter. The Brewers need the power bat, which they get. Also pick up Tyron Naquin, who hasn't really followed up his rookie year in 2016 with Cleveland when he was a Rookie of the Year finalist that year. But he's still turned into a solid outfielder. He's a solid fourth outfielder. He's a solid hitter. Very good outfielder. Can play all three positions. He's got good speed, good veteran to have in your clubhouse. Got playoff experience. He was in the World Series in his rookie year in Cleveland. 2016, last year, played mostly with the Reds, and then he was traded to the Mets around the trade deadline, where he was like he was kind of like a right-handed hitting specialist, basically. That gives the Brewers some depth in their outfield. That's what we got for baseball. Milwaukee makes a couple of small moves there. NHL scores. Bruins over the Senators 3-1. And the Panthers over the Ducks 4-3. Flyers over the Flames 4-3. Sharks shut out the Kraken 4-0. Winnipeg Jets over the Rangers 4-1. Tough game for the Rangers. Connor Hellebuyck had 50 saves. Rangers had 51 shots on goal. They outshot Edmonton like 51 to 21 or something like that. And they lost by 3 goals. That's tough. And the Islanders over the Penguins 4-2. Penguins, they're not playing well. You had, like last week you give up 5 unanswered to the Islanders, and now the Islanders down Matt Barzal, score 4 on you. That's not good luck for the Pittsburgh Penguins. Thankfully, they just got Tristan Jarry back. He's looking with 44 saves in that one. Moving on to college basketball, only game outside. Number 3 Kansas beats number 24 TCU, 63-58. Kansas, they might have a shot going back-to-back. It's almost unheard of going back-to-back of national champions in the NCAA. It hasn't happened in God knows how long. It's like almost impossible to do. Kansas got the best shot of any team in recent memory, I would think. Now to the rankings for this week. They came out yesterday in the later afternoon, I believe. Houston is the number 1 team. They scooch up to number 1. Alabama scooches down to number 2. Yeah, Kansas is at number 3. UCLA at number 4. Purdue's at number 5. Virginia is at 6. Arizona is at 7. Texas is at 8th. Baylor remains 9th. They were 9th last week, too. Marquette is ranked 10th. Marquette is in the top 10. Who would have thought? Marquette is a top 10 team. Tennessee at 11. You have Gonzaga at 12. Miami at 13th. Kansas State at 14th. St. Mary's at 15th. Xavier at 16th. Indiana 17th. You have UConn 18th. Creighton 19th. Providence 20th. Northwestern 21st. San Diego State 22nd. Iowa State 23rd. TCU is 24th. And Texas A&M sneaks into the rankings. They are ranked 25th. I'm going to say this again. The Big East is here. Having a nice year. UConn's in the top 20. Providence is in the top 20. No, you got Marquette. Is Marquette in the Big East? They might be. I gotta research my conferences a little bit more. If Marquette is, they're in the top 10 right now. So Creighton's in the top 20. So that's at least 3, if not 4 teams in the top 20 for the Big East. Big East, obviously years ago they were one of the best conferences. Then the Big East just fell apart, and for years it's been horrible. But now at least for basketball, they're starting to come together again. I'm not sure if they'll ever reach their peak again, but they are really starting to get back, to something close, at least close to what they once were. Only NBA news I had, there was no games. They have a couple of days off in between the All-Star game and then the actual second half of the season. Bulls pick up Patrick Beverley, who Lakers trade to the Magic, and in the Mo Bamba trade, the Magic bought him out. Just, a couple of days after getting him, he had to actually play for them. And the Bulls picked him up. He said he was between the Warriors and the Bulls, and he said he thinks he's about to making a playoff push for the Bulls. I don't know what he's thinking. The Bulls are not very good. They'll be lucky if they even get the 10th seed in the NBA in the play-ins. But Pat Bev is now a Bull. Also, Bulls. Lonzo Ball's been out all season recovering from knee surgery. The recovery hasn't gone on his plan. Still dealing with pain there. So he just got shut down for the year. So they probably figured they could use some point guard depth, knowing I think they were hoping to get Lonzo back by end of the year, since they won't get him back. They pick up Pat Bev for some depth on their bench as a point guard. Pat Bev, Sage Wallman, he can't score. He can't score. He's not athletic. He's not this super great passer, but he is a great defender. And obviously, that's not, he's a great trash talker too. He is a great defender, so he'll help Chicago defensively. Which Lord knows that they could use some help on defense. Their defense is horrendous. That team is kind of a mess. For Zach LaVine, great player, but he's a little overrated. He's not a 1, he's a 2. DeMar DeRozan also was a 2. He was a 2 in Toronto in his heyday. He was even like a 2/1A to LaMarcus Aldridge in San Antonio, and now they're making him the 1 in Chicago. Kind of worked last year. He was like the 1A/2 to Zach LaVine. This year, Zach LaVine not having quite the year he had last year. It's just not working. It's not working out. On to the NFL, we got some coaching updates. Eagles, the defensive coordinator search, starting to pick up a little bit. Offensive coordinator, we haven't heard much besides that. They might promote an in-house guy, either the quarterback's coach Brian Johnson or I think their passing corner Kevin Patullo. Both were hot candidates for offensive coordinator for other jobs this season. Eagles, they interviewed Jesse Minter, who is the defensive coordinator at Michigan. Interesting one there. They interviewed the Rams defensive backs coach, Chris Shula. I do not know if he's related to Don Shula. I know Mike Shula is related to Don Shula. He was an offensive coordinator of the Giants at one point a few years back. I'm not sure if Chris Shula was related to him. He's the D-backs coach for the Rams. He's got to coach the Rams the last few years. They actually interviewed Jim Leonard, the defensive coordinator at Wisconsin. He was a safety for the New York Jets for a while. Was a decent player. And he's been the D coordinator at Wisconsin for a while. He's actually done a very good job as the D coordinator at Wisconsin. They kept him around when they brought in the new head coach this year. But he was interviewing him as well. they're interested in Vance Joseph. They requested an interview Sean Desai, and their Eagles D basketball Denard Wilson, like I said yesterday, was also mentioned as a candidate. You got the Rams hire the Seahawks hire the Rams offensive assistant Greg Olson as a quarterbacks coach. Greg Olson's a very experienced offensive coordinator. Actually, his most recent stint was with the Raiders. Wasn't great there. Although that was also that's mainly on the reason that the offense wasn't great was mainly on John Gruden. Of course, but he was the offensive coordinator. But he's now a Seahawks quarterbacks coach. They needed a new quarterbacks coach after Dave Canales. The previous one just took the offensive coordinator job with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, so they bring in him. Colts have found their offensive coordinator. They bring in Jim Bob Cooter as their offensive coordinator. This year he was the passing game coordinator for the Jaguars. Did a nice job there. He's been an offensive coordinator before. Most recently with the Lions, he was their offensive coordinator. Offense was okay. It was not early on him. I think he may have been the OC, maybe under Jim Caldwell. And he was the Jets running backs coach for 2 seasons. And then he bounced around, and the last year he was the Jaguars passing game coordinator. But he's now the offensive coordinator for the Colts. That is who Shane Steichen picked. I'm sure he'll be running Steichen's offense anyway. You got the Chargers promote their defensive backs coach Derek Anderson to defensive coordinator after Ronaldo Hale left to go to Miami for a passing coordinator job, which is a very odd thing. But still, out of respect for Vic Fangio, who he was Fangio's defensive coordinator when Fangio was head coach in Denver before. So he took the head coach job with the Chargers. So I respect him. He let him go. Browns shaking up their staff. They made a bunch of changes to Kevin Stefanski's staff. Of course, they made a change of defensive coordinator. They got rid of Joe Woods, now the same position in New Orleans. They hired the Utah State defensive coordinator, Ephraim Banda. I might have mispronounced his last name. He is their safety coach, and they fired their special teams coordinator, Mike Pryfer, who's a very experienced special teams coordinator. He actually has known Stefanski a long time. He was on the Vikings staff from 2011 to 2018, so he actually has been coaching alongside Stefanski for even since when Stefanski was in Minnesota. He was offensive coordinator in Minnesota. Then he started as like a lower role. He made his way to offensive coordinator in Minnesota before he took the head coach job in Cleveland. And they just let him go. So, an interesting move there. Like Derek Carr had a very good meeting with the Jets. So we'll see if Jets choose to sign him. So they're still keeping tabs on Aaron Rodgers. They say that's probably their plan A, but that's gonna be difficult to do because they gotta give up draft picks to get Rodgers. Will that even work? Is Aaron Rodgers too expensive? That whole thing. I don't think they would have hired Nathaniel Hackett as offensive coordinator if they didn't want Rodgers. But we'll say Carr's probably plan B, and also Carr could probably I would think can also get them to the playoffs, and he probably might be a little cheaper, and you don't have to give up any draft picks. So we have him. I'm not sure if you guys heard, but Daniel Jones wants $45 million a year. Okay, the dude needs to have his head checked. Jones played a lot better this year. He made some strides, but he threw 15 touchdowns. Okay, and it's not all on him. I promise I'm not saying that. He had his receivers were depleted. Sterling Shepard missed most of the year. You didn't have Calvin Johnson all year, who was going to be a guy we thought could, produce maybe a bit of a surprising role as like their 4 or 5th receiver that we could step up. The Wanda Robinson, was a rookie who was stepping up. They lost him for the year. You trade Kadarius Toney really for no reason. I mean, I get why I traded him, I guess, but like he goes to Chiefs and all of a sudden he's producing. You traded him. He didn't produce at all this year before he got traded. Kenny Galladay just he doesn't even count. He had like 3 catches the whole season. 2 of them came in a meaningless Week 18 game against the Eagles. So he had no receivers. His best receiver was Darius Slayton this year, who Time. So long. Have a great day.